So Addis Insight is targeting the young, and almost 70% of our readers are between the age 18 and 34, and 90% of our contributors are under 30, and 70% of our contributors are women, and we're the leading platform to feature startups, tech entrepreneurs, and social causes. You name it, Yellow Movement, their Valentine's campaign, and several youth-led initiatives, including Drop of Water. So that was the whole thing about Addis Insight.
That's really amazing. Just to hear your story of how you went down the road of mechanical engineering, but then changed your mind because you knew what your passion was and wasn't there. And it's okay to know halfway there, and to know it, you just have to make a decision then. So you're a great example of that. And also the demographics you actually shared, about 70% being women, and then 90% of the articles being written by people that are under the age of 30. That's really amazing. Addis Insight is really representing the voice of the youth. That's pretty great, guys. Let's hear it for Addis Insight. So I'm sure there are a lot of challenges tapping into the sector where it's not common here to have digital media platforms, right? So what were some of the challenges you faced while setting up Addis Insight?
Yeah, so I'm mainly known for my jokes, so my challenges are my jokes. So I used to say smartphones goes to vacation to Ethiopia, because the internet is terrible and there isn't much you can do about it. So internet was our challenge, and more than that, the before this system, before the Abiy administration, it was really tough to operate as a media, and then that restricted investors to have interest in investing on media. And in the past 3 years, there was no internet, so most of our readers were based in the diaspora, and I was able to survive that time because I had a scholarship in media. So I was in the US for almost 2 years. So I had to work on the content when my team produced. So for us, internet was a challenge. The government perception about bloggers and online was a challenge, and people and then not competitive, but clickbait websites, they were also a distraction in reaching out people. So those were the main challenges for us.
Well, how were you able to pass the challenges? Because like you also mentioned that you were in here, and how did you balance that? How were you able to oversee the work that was being done here? And like the challenges that you were facing, it's hard because you were studying at Ohio University at that time. So how were you able to manage those aspects?
Yeah, so the interesting thing, it starts from when I applied for my scholarship. In the interview, they asked me, you have the lowest grade from all applicants, you stayed more time in the university, and then they say, why should we give you this opportunity? And I told them, like, I have something in the ground, and I have the clarity to make Addis Insight the leading online platform in 5 years. So without being having said that, when I was in the US, I partnered with my friend before leaving Ethiopia. She invested share on it, so we keep the ground activity here. So for content uploading, content producing, I have to still operate in Ethiopia time even when I was in the US. So I was not taking morning classes, or I was not doing student jobs that much. So I was pretty much active in communicating with my team.
So I'm going to open up the stage for questions in a bit. This is the last question from my end. So what is the vision for 5 or 10 years from now? What does the future look like for Addis Insight?
Yeah, as I said, we want to become the leading online digital platform. Already we have introduced a content monetization model where I believe the reason why we started Addis Insight is also an architect have an insight that they can share for the general public, a doctor, an engineer. So we are recruiting talents, and then they are producing YouTube show. So we have an Eritrean makeup beauty that does on that. We have another on take. So we want to become a leading platform for young audience.
That's really amazing. Let's hear it for Abel Asrat one more time. So now is a great time to forward your questions. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions going around in your mind. So where should I start? All right, great.
I just wanted to ask, what was your initial inspiration for Addis Insight, basically, and where you got your vision from? You know, like, what was your inspiration behind your vision?
Maybe it takes some time, but I was a big fan of President Obama, so during his 100 days, I wrote an article and then sent it to Addis Fortune, and then they say they didn't accept the article, but they didn't give me reason why, whether it was grammatical error, whether the topic doesn't fit their platform or something. So I feel like if I had my own media, maybe I would have published it, so.
So we have one more question from the back. All right.
Thank you, Abel. I think it's very credible what you're doing. My question is in relation to maybe your vision and in future insights. I feel like the digital platforms such as the one that you were talking about right now that you've started up is quite underrepresented in the continent in general. Is there any plan or are you and your team thinking of taking this up a notch and maybe representing yourselves in other African countries?
When I did my fellowship as a Google student, ambassador in Wikipedia, I had an opportunity to network with other African activists and all that. So we always welcome them to use our platform. And other than that, even within Ethiopia, there is underrepresentation of media, let's say Somali region. So we recently helped them to launch their own website, and we have consistent bloggers from that region. So we also tap into the regional. So our plan is maybe to use local universities as a hub to produce local content from those regions. But yeah, we need some financial backing to kick off well. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much for an amazing question. Thank you so much for an amazing time too, Abel.